Jack and Bob Ingham were very active at yearling sales on both sides of the Tasman in 1994. A lovely brown colt by Zabeel from 8 Carat was just one of many quality yearlings knocked down to the Chicken Kings at the New Zealand National Yearling Sale at Karaka, and the price was the equivalent of $210,000 Australian. Jack and Bob had every reason to predict a bright future for their neat and tradesman-like colt. After all, his sire Zabeel was by the incomparable Sir Tristram and was no slouch himself on the racetrack. In fact, he won more than $1.1 million in prize money, and his 7 wins included the Group 1 Australian Guineas. But it was the female side of the pedigree that prompted Jack and Bob to chase so hard. Now, this mare, 8 Carat, had previously been the dam of Group 1 winners Karpstad and Diamond Lover, and Diamond Lover in turn produced a Group 1 winner in Trista Love. Now, another daughter, Our Marquise, has a Group 1 win to her credit, and yet another unraced daughter, Cota Heel House, carved herself a little piece of racing history by becoming the dam of the wonderful galloper Dane Win, the winner of 5 Group 1s. Muward, of course, a full brother in blood to Octagonal, won 3 Group 1 races before his untimely breakdown. The Zabeel colt broke in with no complications and earned high praise from everybody who had anything to do with him. Trainer John Hawkes remembers clearly there was something special about this colt right from the start.
Oh no, he always had a presence about him, Johnny. You know, from when we bought him, he was a lovely individual, and when they broke him in, even when the first time he stepped into the stable, not that we thought he was going to be to this level, but he always had a bit of presence, something about him, you know, he had great character and did everything the right way, bang, straight off. So they're the things, all attributes of making a top horse.
Named Octagonal by the Crown Lodge office staff, the brown colt was very lightly raced at 2 years. In fact, he had only 5 starts, but they included the testing Triple Crown races, the Golden Slipper, the Sire's Produce Stakes and the Champagne Stakes, and he had a tough run in all 3. His toughness and durability was evident when he came back at 3 years to win 3 races from 6 starts, including the WS Cox Plate. As an autumn 3-year-old, he was simply magnificent, winning 4 from 5 and showing courage beyond the call of duty. His form slump in the spring of 1996 remains a mystery, although even then he managed a Group 1 win at Caulfield. Jack and Bob Ingham contemplated retirement for Octagonal, but thankfully changed their minds. Had they not, racing would have been deprived of some of the most amazing scenes ever witnessed on Australian racecourses. Scenes like these at Rosehill Gardens on March the 22nd, when Occy bobbed his head in the nick of time to win the Mercedes Classic. They went berserk when his number went into the semaphore and gave him a back-to-scale reception only a chosen few have been accorded. We invite you now to sit back, relax, and relive some of Octagonal's greatest moments. As a 2-year-old, Octagonal did something many fine horses have failed to do. He won at his very first race start, and it was an impressive win too. And the leader is Fracture in 2nd place, Sir Ryder, set to shine as a length away in 3rd place. In fact, 2 lengths now and under some pressure. Then Gull Darrow, Kadar's getting up on the fence. Octagonal pushed about 5 deep on the turn. And then Slane Castle and Portofino, giving these leaders about 8 lengths, has now taken to the extreme outside. Fracture is well clear. He dashed away from Sir Ryder, followed by Kadar's. At the head of the others, Octagonal getting home well. Portofino's 100 to 1. Fracture in front, but here comes Octagonal. Octagonal smothers Fracture. Octagonal takes the lead close to home and is racing away and scores a most impressive win. Octagonal beat Fracture. Occy was turned out immediately after that and didn't resume until March the 25th of the following year. His comeback race was the Todman Slipper Trial. Into the straight, Shaded and Tuscany Flyer, the 2 leaders, and they straighten up well clear of Our Maze K. Exclusive Halo under the whip, followed by Zephyrs, who'll want to shake a leg, and then Octagonal pull to the extreme outside and starting to wind up at the 200. Tuscany Flyer, headed Shaded. Here's the big bloke from the Shaky Isles, Our Maze K, and Octagonal on the extreme outside, but Our Maze K the leader. Octagonal cutting him down with every stride. Octagonal coming home the better and got there on the line. Octagonal has come from a mile back to beat Our Maze K. April the 8th, 1995, and Occy takes his place in the Golden Slipper field. After being held up at a crucial stage, he produced a whirlwind finish.
Kidman's Cove, Rivada's in the middle of the pack as they come around the turn. Zedrich on the fence with nowhere to go, followed by Exclusive Halo, and Strategic is carted at least 8 wide on the turn into the straight. Our Maze K cantered to the lead, straightening up. Our Maze K is clear by more than a length to Millrich, who's going after him. Zedrich is bullocking into the clear, followed by Flying Spur and Kidman's Cove. Our Maze K clear with 100 to go. Millrich, the filly, is coming after him quickly and getting between them. Flying Spur, and look at Octagonal jumping out of the ground. Flying Spur hit the front. Flying Spur wins the slipper. Flying Spur for Glenn Boss over Octagonal, which jumped out of the ground. Thirds either.
9 days later, he clashed with a good filly in the Sires Produce Stakes.
Off and running in the Sires Produce. I sold her, if anything, as a shade tardy to begin, and Burrito didn't jump all that well. Exclusive Halo is first out, joined and headed straight away by Martinets and Arashi going through. I sold her quickly slipping along the rail, followed by Zedrich, and right up there with them early Strategic. In that bunch, Burrito improving quickly between horses. At the head of the others then Pontal Lass, followed by Show of Force, and dropping out to last Octagonal. In the run to the first turn, Arashi got to the fence and stacks them up. Now whipping around the outside, 3 deep. Exclusive Halo's rider elected to go to the front over the crossing at the 800 over Arashi. Zedrich on the outside, and now the pace is truer. Running fourth, Martinets on the inside of Daney Boy and Burrito between horses. A gap then to Strategic. I sold her on the fence further back between runners Pontal Lass, and then Show of Force and Octagonal on the outside last in a tightly packed bunch. To the turn, Exclusive Halo is just the leader. Zedrich going up to almost join him on the turn. On the fence, Arashi as they straighten up, followed by Martinets, and then Burrito and Strategic has now popped the big question as they come over the rise, and his Octagonal taken to the extreme outside. Coming to the 200 mark, and Zedrich is just the leader from Exclusive Halo. Here they come now, Strategic, Octagonal and Show of Force. Little Show of Force is squeezing through in the centre. Show of Force and Octagonal hit the lead from Strategic. Show of Force and Octagonal. I sold her coming late on the inside as they hit the line. Octagonal, I sold her. I sold her as lunged and right on the line. Might have got up to beat Octagonal, but there's little in it. I sold her or Octagonal from Show of Force and Strategic in a tremendous finish. The winner ran out sharply near the line. And then Pontal Lass, followed by Burrito, Exclusive Halo, Zedrich, Martinets and Arashi. And Daney Boy is last in the Sires Produce Stakes. Number 1 on the outside, Octagonal Grant Cooksley, has nosed. I sold her out of it with Show of Force, a big run third.
Next time out, I sold her squared the account in the Champagne Stakes.
Over the rise, I sold her still in front. Cooksley getting busy on Octagonal, and Pontal Lass and Show of Force further out, and the other one, Latin Quarters, only a length and a half off the lead. I sold her being tackled in earnest by Octagonal. Octagonal coming at I sold her. Pontal Lass is still there. Octagonal's gutsy, so is I sold her. They're coming to the line absolutely locked together in a head bobber. Maybe I sold her, but gee, there's nothing in it. I sold her or Octagonal.
Octagonal's 3-year-old career began with a second to our Maze K in the Roman Consul, and then came this win in the Rosehill Heritage Stakes.
Heads a turn for home. My Modest is clear. Octagonal closing fast in second place. I sold her running on gamely, followed by Payback Time at the 200. Cooksley says go. Octagonal headed My Modest on the inside of them. I sold her running on well, but Octagonal draws clear with 100 to go, and Octagonal getting right away from them in the last bit, and this long striding black horse races away to win easily over My Modest. I sold her ran out of puff in the last little bit.
October the 2nd, 1995, and the Group 3 Stan Fox Stakes went to Octagonal.
Heads a turn for home, and it's My Modest, the leader over Rivada. Encores on the outside. Octagonal is now pulled to the extreme outside and is starting to wind up as they come to the top of the rise. Encores headed Rivada. Octagonal is pouncing. Encores and Octagonal with Rivada on the inside fighting back strongly. It's Octagonal, Encores. They're clear of Rivada. Octagonal just the leader from Encores, who's running a hell of a race, but Octagonal's got his measure now, and oh, look at him get to the line in the last little bit. That was the best part of his race. Octagonal beat Encores, third Rivada.
Octagonal ran a pleasing third to the flying Our Maze K in the Caulfield Guineas at his first Melbourne start, and 2 weeks later took on an awesome task.
All ready to go, the BMW Cox plate. Lights are on, and they're off. Great start in the Cox Plate, and down on the inside, Pakaraka Star, one of the first out, and Our Maze K has begun brilliantly from the outsiders, crossing straight over under the rails. And Our Maze K, the 3-year-old, leads down the straight with a lap to go, a half length to Stony Bay. Dane Winners in the box seat, third on the inside of Solvent, and just in behind the Mahogany is well placed as they go to the straighter. They're followed closely by Station Hand, who's racing a bit deep. Then Pakaraka Star. Dropping in behind them is Mr. Marconi, a length further back along the inside to Denarani as the field starts to string out. They were being followed by Sea Scales on the inside of Octagonal, followed by Just Apollo. Jeune is second last, and Star Dancer is last of all. Down the side they travel with about 1,400 metres left to go, and the leader Our Maze K by a length on Stony Bay. Close up on the inside as Dane Win, followed closely there over on the rails now by Mahogany. On the outside, Solvent is running fourth. A length and a half further back is Pakaraka Star. He's on the inside of Station Hand. Just Apollo going around them is next. A length further back in the field to Mr. Marconi, followed there by Denarani. And further back over on the inside is Seascape, followed by Octagonal, who's well back in the field. Jeune is second last, and Star Dancer is last of all. They're racing down the side. 900 metres left to go in the Cox Plate. Our Maze K, about 3/4 of a length on Stony Bay. A length away to Solvent. Half a length away, getting a perfect run as Dane Winner. Mahogany coming off the fence now. Station Hand, Just Apollo moving up is just behind them. They're being followed by Pakaraka Star on the inside of Mr. Marconi. A length and a half Octagonal. Seascales on the rails, pull to the outside as Jeune is coming around them on the outside there. And they were followed by Denarani and Star Dancer as they pack up, coming up towards the home turn. We're going very fast now. Station Hand had sprinted up on the outside to take the lead from Solvent. Joining in around the outside is Octagonal, very wide as Jeune. And Last Car's dropped right out of it as they round the home turn. Here's Octagonal on the outside, has gone past Station Hand. Jeune on the outside is finishing. Mahogany on the inside is finishing brilliantly. Mahogany right through on the inside is grabbing Octagonal halfway down the straight. Octagonal, the 3-year-old, fighting back, and Mahogany are locked together. Mahogany, Octagonal as they go to the line. Octagonal ahead to Mahogany.
Lady Luck deserted Occy in his final run for the spring season. He was trapped in a pocket at a vital stage of the Victoria Derby. Octagonal returned as an autumn 3-year-old, looking bigger, stronger and infinitely more mature. Following a first-up second in the Hobartville Stakes, he put together an unforgettable sequence of wins. Let's enjoy them again.
7 runners, 1 filly, Bravo Zulu. The gates open, they're off in the Guineas, came out in a nice even line, and Super Slew from the outside gate appeared to brush another runner when he jumped away. Filante is away quickly with Octagonal, followed by Future King and Bravo Zulu. Super Slew's going to slide over from the extreme outside and will take the lead as they come to the judge from Filante and Bravo Zulu. Now Darren Beedman on Octagonal has elected to stride up on the outside, and he actually goes to the front on the turn out of the straight. The odds on Pop Octagonal is the leader over Super Slew. Filante is going to have the Cold Turkey sit on them in third place, then Bravo Zulu, followed closely by Future King on the outside of Classy Fella, and Payback Time is last of the 7. They're going at a nice leisurely bat as they swing to the back at the 1,300 mark. Super Slew led about 3/4 to Octagonal, striding freely in second spot. A length and a half to the only filly in the race, Bravo Zulu, on the inside of Filante. Then Classy Fella on the inside of Future King, and Larry Cassidy is about to take off on Payback Time as they head down the back straight. Super Slew the leader over Octagonal. There's Payback Time cruising up 3 deep into third spot. Bravo Zulu is close to the rail, followed by Filante, who just wanted to drop the bit there for a stride or two. Further back is Classy Fella. Future King is last, only 6 off the lead as they start the run up the hill. They've got 700 to go. Super Slew the leader. They're picking up speed now. Octagonal second, in third spot Payback Time, followed by Bravo Zulu, and then Filante, Classy Fella, and ahead away on the outside Future King. 5 lengths first to last. Octagonal's under pressure coming to the turn. Super Slew the leader. Darren Beedman hard at work on Octagonal on the outside. Bravo Zulu in third place, and then Filante, who looks to be making heavy weather of it, and wide on the track. Payback Time. Future King is running on well. In the straight, Octagonal flat to the boards to head. Super Slew, they're clear of Filante. Bravo Zulu on the fence. Octagonal full bore. Filante is having another go at him. Octagonal in front. Beedman's got to ride desperately. Filante can't quite pick him up, and Octagonal fell in to win the Guineas by a long head to Filante. Future King wide out, probably third in front of Classy Fella, Super Slew, and then Bravo Zulu and Payback Time weakened to run last of the 7. He's back on all fours, and they're off and running in the AAMI Guineas. A good start, and Filante bounded out in front of Nothin Leica Dane, quickly into stride. Super Slew, one of the New Zealanders. Interval is racing towards the lead. Widest of all, Delinquent as they go over that first crossing, and Royce is up in a handy spot. Octagonal has come over from the outside gate, and he's one horse off the rail at the end of 300 metres. A brilliant ride by Beedman. Reasons next, followed by Future King. Saintly is travelling three deep as they go to the back, but he was in the Australian Cup. Second last is Shahrazar, and Bull Chief is last. To the back now, they've got 1,400 to go. Delinquent is the leader, and there's a ton of pace on in the AAMI Guineas. Delinquent led by a bit more than 2 to Interval. A length away, Super Slew, a bit more than a length to Nothin Leica Dane on the inside of Royce In. 2 lengths away, Octagonal on the outside of Filante at the 1,200 mark. And then Reasons, followed by Saintly, Future King, Shahrazar, and Bull Chief is last of all. Going up to the top turn at the 1,100 mark, and Delinquent is the leader. In front by a bit more than a length now to Interval, who's in second spot, and Super Slew is carted 3 deep around that top turn. A length and a half to Nothin Leica Dane on the inside of Royce In. A gap then to Filante and Octagonal together, followed by Reason. Saintly ridden patiently by Paddy Payne. Well back Shahrazar, Future King, and Bull Chief about to take off will be carted pretty deep as they come down the side to the 700 metres mark, and it's Delinquent the leader. In second place, Interval under pressure. Super Slew on the outside. Nothin Leica Dane on the fence, being ridden a bit as they come to the turn, followed by Royce In. Octagonal, 3 deep, is also under heavy pressure, and then Filante, and Saintly is taken to the extreme outside as they turn for home. In the straight, Delinquent the leader. Nothin Leica Dane looming up on the outside. Octagonal and Saintly right out in the middle of the track. Nothin Leica Dane hit the lead at the 200, but Octagonal has gobbled him up on the outside. Saintly is going to have the last shot at them. Octagonal just in front of Nothin Leica Dane. Saintly on the outside. Octagonal just in front as they get near home. Saintly lunge. Octagonal wins the Guineas from either Saintly on the outside or Nothin Leica Dane, which kicked again. You couldn't have written the script any better than that. Flashing home Filante, and then Delinquent, Reasons, Royce In, followed by Future King, Super Slew, Shahrazar and Interval, and Bull Chief last in the AAMI Guineas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't have written a better script than that. The 3 champion 3-year-olds have gone over the line, absolutely locked together, with Octagonal in the centre, showing enormous reserves of courage to hang on to that slender lead. Saintly on the outside raised an almighty effort, and Nothin Leica Dane, which looked to be struggling 100 metres out, fought back like a cage lion as he always does. But number 1, Octagonal, has won the AAMI Guineas. Starters orders for the inaugural Mercedes Classic. They're off and running, good start, and Dark Czar, if anything, is a shade tardy to begin. Delinquent bounded out in front. Starstruck began smartly. Circles of Gold is cruising over from the outside. Going over with her is Alcove and Electronic on the extreme outside. To the judge the first time, and Circles of Gold went to the lead over Alcove. Viali on the fence. Delinquent in the centre. Electronic 3 deep as they go past the judge, followed by Starstruck on the inside of Saintly. A gap then to Count Chivas on the fence. Octagonal between horses tracking Saintly. Bozart is 3 deep around Octagonal, and the last couple of Dark Czar and Carla Chief. Now Circles of Gold goes out with a good lead at the 1,800 mark. She won an Oaks at Randwick leading all the way. She's about 3 in front of Alcove. Electronic is third on the outside of Viali. Further back, Delinquent, followed by Starstruck on the fence. Bozart 3 deep. Saintly between horses on the fence, Count Chivas, and then Octagonal, followed by Dark Czar and Carla Chief on the outside is a half length away last as they swing to the back in the Mercedes. And down the back straight they go now to the 1,400 mark. It's Circles of Gold. 3 to Alcove, 2 to Electronic on the outside of Viali. Bozart 3 deep is taking closer order, followed closely by Delinquent on the outside of Starstruck, and then Saintly on the outside of Count Chivas. Octagonal on the outside of Dark Czar, and back of the tail is Carla Chief. At the 1,100 mark, Circles of Gold the leader. Dittman has taken Bozart to within 3/4 of a length of that leader. Alcove third, Electronic fourth, getting a nice run, followed by Viali at the 1,000 metres mark. A length further back, Delinquent on the outside of Starstruck. Saintly on the outside of Count Chivas, and then Octagonal and Dark Czar, and Carla Chief is last at the 800. And Circles of Gold has burst away. It's Circles of Gold a mile in front now. She led by about 4 lengths to Alcove. Beaux-Art has dropped off, followed by Viali. Electronic 3 deep under pressure. A gap to Starstruck. Saintly is about to take off with Delinquent, followed by Count Chivas. Octagonal is tacking onto the main bunch. Beedman looked as though he was going to get between horses, but changes his mind, and he is still tracking Saintly as they turn for home. Circles of Gold has got a big lead turning the corner. Circles of Gold about 4 in front of Alcove. Count Chivas, Electronic, Saintly and Octagonal. Here come the 3-year-olds down the outside. Circles of Gold in front at the 200. Count Chivas in the centre. Octagonal, Saintly's gone. It's Count Chivas and Octagonal. Octagonal headed Count Chivas close to home in the Mercedes Classic, and Octagonal, desperately ridden by Beedman, is drawing away. He'll win. Octagonal has won brilliantly from Count Chivas. Third's close, Electronic or Saintly, followed by Viali. Circles of Gold, Alcove, Beaux-Art, Delinquent, well back Viali, followed then by Dark Czar, and the last couple are Starstruck and Carla Chief in the Mercedes Classic. Octagonal, ridden by Darren Beedman, has completed the AAMI Guineas Mercedes Classic double in the space of 7 days.
Well, Darren, where to from here? We told them that it was Group 1 day for Darren Beedman. Where to from here?
Just keep on trying to do my best, and, you know, give my horses every chance, and, you know, if I'm on the best horse, I'll win.
Just how good is this mighty 3-year-old Octagonal? He's won the Cox Plate. He's won another Group 1 today. How good is he?
Well, I think you could rate him a champion, you know. He only wins by neck, short margins, and he's just a fabulous horse.
Well, he's a fabulous horse, and you're a great rider. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Beedman, champion rider of Sydney.
Should catch them here. Off and running in the Australian Derby, came away in a nice even line. Hard to find an early leader. Saintly is one of them with Filante and Super Slew. Interval rushing over from the outside, and Dye's going to go forward on Nothin Leica Dane. Midfield are a bit worse on settling down Octagonal, who's in between horses. Skybow on his outside. Peep on the Sly, not getting much room, is bumping with Reasons as they go out of the straight. And Magic is going back to the tail of the field, and Skybow is now dropping out last of all. On the turn out of the straight, and Interval takes up the running to lead by 1.5 lengths to Nothin Leica Dane. Royson is third in the box seat on the fence, about 3 away. Filante on the outside of Super Slew. A gap then to Saintly on the outside of Reasons. Octagonal on the outside of Peep on the Sly. Magic is second last, and Skybow is last as they go to the crossing at the mile. Into the back straight, Interval the leader by a bit more than 1 length to Nothin Leica Dane. Royson third, 2 to Filante, followed by Super Slew. Saintly is next on the outside of Reasons. A gap to Octagonal, followed by Peep on the Sly. Magic on the outside, pulling a bit. And Skybow is last as they head down the back past the 1400 mark. This leader got fired up a bit. Interval is pulling, led by 1 length to Nothin Leica Dane, getting closer. Royson third. 3 lengths away then is Filante. 1 length to Super Slew, followed by Saintly. Reasons next on the inside of Octagonal. A bit more than 2 to Peep on the Sly, followed by Magic, and Skybow on the fence is back at the tail as they reach the top turn. Interval led in a truly run derby by 1 length to Nothin Leica Dane. Royson third, getting a lovely run. A bit more than 2 to Filante, another 2 to Super Slew, and then Saintly, followed by Reasons. Octagonal's about 8 lengths off the lead, maybe a little more, and then Peep on the Sly and Magic, and 3 lengths away last Skybow. Past the 800 metres mark, Interval the leader by 1/2 to Nothin Leica Dane. Royson third, hasn't covered 1 inch of extra ground. Filante is coming into it now, followed by Super Slew, and then Saintly. Octagonal about to take off. 3 deep is starting to pick up these leaders as they near the turn, followed by Magic, and then Reasons. Peep on the Sly, and Skybow tailed off under the whip as they come around the turn, where Nothin Leica Dane takes the lead. Nothin Leica Dane hit the front up the rise. Filante's the first to go after him. Here comes Saintly with Octagonal down the extreme outside, out after them now. Filante headed Nothin Leica Dane, further out Saintly, and here comes the big O. Octagonal with the last run at them. Filante, Saintly and Octagonal, they've come away from Nothin Leica Dane. Saintly and Octagonal. Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal. He gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the derby. Octagonal again by a neck to Saintly. Filante third, Royson fourth, in front of Nothin Leica Dane, followed by Super Slew, and then Magic and Interval well back in the field. Then came Reasons, Peep on the Sly, and Skybow last in the Australian Derby. The Big O does it again. He never wins by a fancy margin, but he just keeps on winning. The first horse since Kingston Town to win the Triple Crown, Canterbury and Rosehill Guineas and AJC Derby.
16 years since that has been achieved, and it was achieved last time by one of the all-time greats in Kingston Town, and Octagonal's reputation must be not too far behind the King's after his remarkable winning sequence of recent weeks. He gave the leaders 8 or 9 lengths from about the 800 metres mark. Nothin Leica Dane got the first cheer when he hit the front up the rise. He was headed by Filante, who ran a mighty race but just failed to stay, Filante. And it was Saintly and Octagonal claiming them late. Saintly and Octagonal drew away, Darren Beedman and Larry Cassidy both riding like men inspired, but Octagonal, as he always does, pulling out enormous reserves of courage, has won the Derby by about a neck.
Well, Darren, we've waited a long time for another champion. Is this the horse? I think he is.
Oh, this is the horse for sure. I just can't believe 600 from home. I was off the bit, struggling to hold my ground, and he's got so much courage. And, you know, there wasn't an ounce left in him, and he just broke the other horse's heart, I think.
And what about 50 metres to go? Did you think you could win the race?
100, I wasn't sure. 50 to go, I knew I had him once I got my head in front. He just doesn't lay down.
It's just so wonderful to see the crowd reaction. It's lovely to see a good horse.
And Bob, how's it feel for you to have a horse as good as this, the Big O?
This is something you live for all your life. We've had horses for 40 years and lots of them, but this is the greatest of all. And I just want to say thank you very much to the crowd for the great reception that you've given him.
Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause. We're having a good time.
The spring of 1996 will remain a mystery forever. The one bright spot was this slogging win in the Underwood Stakes.
Racing in the Underwood Stakes, and Toyle was one of the first to bounce out from the stalls. Now, Mr. Stanham has missed the start, and he's back towards the end early. Cheviot began quickly with Circles of Gold, and Salius is up there in the early stages, followed by Count Chivas and then Sir Boom. As they sort themselves out, Octagonal's drifted right back through the field with El Cave, and they're last and second last. About 1,300 metres to go. Circles of Gold is the leader from Salius, and now Mr. Stanham is working around the field. He'll be in front pretty soon. He's racing up towards the leaders. In behind them is Toyle over on the inside, fourth, and he's being followed by Station Hand in that bunch of horses on the outside of Cheviot. 2 lengths Sir Boom, Count Chivas, Boart on the inside, 1 Furama Knights, 1 Doremus a little worse in midfield. French Resort behind it in company with Seascape, and then Japan Octagonal, and 2 lengths to El Cave last of all. Mr. Stanham is the leader as they came to the railway side near the 1,000-metre mark. Is in front of Salius and Station Hand, going up to make a line of 3 now. In behind them is Circles of Gold, and they're followed by Sir Boom from Cheviot between runners. 2 lengths to Toyle, Furama Knights and Count Chivas. 1.5 to Remus, and he's followed by Seascape the outside. Boart back on the rail. Beedman setting Octagonal to make him, setting him alight to make a run around the outside with about 600 to go. He's 3 wide around Dupain and French Resort, and 2 to El Cave. Station Hand took a slender lead from Salius, who's got the rails, and Sir Boom coming at them on the outside. Clear of Circles of Gold, Cheviot, Furama Knights round the outside, followed by Count Chivas. Doremus behind him, hard ridden, and Octagonal the widest into the straight now. Bunched at the top of the straight. Salius took the lead now from Station Hand, running on Furama Knight. Sir Boom. Toyle is barging into the open. Count Chivas coming down the outside with Octagonal. He's putting in on the outside. Salius the leader. Count Chivas and Octagonal. Octagonal and Count Chivas. Octagonal, he's back. Octagonal's won it by a long neck to either Count Chivas or Seascape. The mighty horse is back, folks. Dupain next, followed by Doremus.
Autumn 1997, and Ockie looked way above himself when he resumed in the Apollo Stakes, finishing second to Juggler. 2 weeks later, he began a dazzling winning streak in the Chipping Norton Stakes at Warwick Farm.
Starters ready now for the Chipping Norton Stakes. They're off and running. Octagonal might have been a shade slow. Circles of Gold bounced out in front. Leanne Olsen immediately takes hold of the mare, who wants to run, but she's now dropping back behind Filante, who goes to a narrow lead over Dupain. Circles of Gold third, won't settle. She's ripping and reefing on the inside of Juggler, who relaxes nicely. And 2.5 away, last of the 5 is Octagonal. Past the 1,200 metres mark, and Jimmy Cassidy had Filante swinging along in front, about a neck on Dupain. A length away, Circles of Gold flatly refusing to settle, and is giving Leanne Olsen a torrid ride. A neck away to Juggler, and 2.5 to Octagonal, last of the 5. At the 1,000 mark, Filante is ambling in front, led by a half to Dupain. 2 away, Circles of Gold on the inside of Juggler. The mare hasn't done herself much good today. She's pulled very hard early, and Octagonal is now tacking on at the tail. Past the 800 mark, Filante about a neck on Dupain. A length to Juggler, who's racing one off the fence. Dye makes a quick move on Octagonal. Glenn Boss on Juggler. Tried to go with him, but Octagonal showed an amazing turn of speed past the 600. He's exploded around the outside to go to the front as they come to the turn. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. Will they pay off? He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner, led by a length and a half to Juggler, who's moving to second. Filante third, flat to the boards, and the other two are beaten off. Octagonal first into the straight. He's got a 2-length break on Juggler. Boss goes for the whip on Juggler, who's coming out after Rocky. Octagonal's in front, 100 out. Juggler is trying desperately to pick him up, but bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the chipping Norton. Octagonal beat Juggler. I think Dupan will just get third in front of Filante. Listen to the crowd. They were electrified by the way that race was run. Had Shane Dye been beaten, they'd have tied him to the fence. But he's won, and the most amazing tactical ride I've seen in a long, long time has paid off. Ladies and gentlemen, Octagonal has broken 33 seconds for his last 600 metres. 32.81 for the last 600 metres. An incredible sectional.
Nothin Leica Dane stands up well. Drawn barrier 1. Winner of the Derby here. They're all set to go. Stand by for a start. They're racing. Great start too, and Royal Line, one of the first to jump out, with Gull City beginning well is Stoddard and Juggler, and Nothin Leica Dane hunted up along the inside to take up a position, being followed by Perfect Bound, and Magnet Bay is going very fast from the outside, being followed by Vianda Cross and Doremus, and Octagonal has got back to last. Octagonal last of all as they go round the back, 1,700 metres out, and Stoddard takes the lead from Perfect Bound and Magnet Bay on the outside. They were being followed by Nothin Leica Dane over on the inside of Royal Line, a length further away as Juggler, one off the fence on the outside of Gull City, a length and a half. Vianda Cross followed by Doremus, and Octagonal is last of all as they go along past the 1,400 metre mark, where Magnet Bay has gone to the lead by length. The Wistadad is second. Nothin Leica Dane over on the inside, just behind them, being followed closely by Royal Line, and Gull City is over on the rails, out a little bit deeper on the track then is Perfect Bound, and they were being followed by Juggler, a length and a half further back as Doremus, followed by Vianda Cross, and still last of all Octagonal. That's the order racing up towards the 1,200 metre mark. Magnet Bay in charge, a half length to Wistadad, a length and a half further back as Nothin Leica Dane on the inside of Perfect Bound, being followed closely by Royal Line. 2 lengths away, Juggler on the outside of Gull City, a length and a half further back, Vianda Cross, and Doremus is starting to make ground, and a length and a half Octagonal still back at the tail of the field as they go past the 800 metre mark and come up towards the home turn, where the leader Magnet Bay is challenged by Stoddard for the front running, and just in behind them Perfect Bound, getting a beautiful run on the inside. Nothin Leica Dane followed by Royal Line, deeper on the track as Juggler as they come around the home turn, and they're followed after a gap in the field by Gull City, and further back then Vianda Cross, followed by Octagonal, who's working his way to the picture, and Doremus is last of all. 400 metres out in the cup now. Stoddard takes the lead. Juggler down the outside. Octagonal is joining him with a good run, and they're followed by Magnet Bay, and further back Gull City getting up along the inside. Juggler's taken it slightly. Stoddard, Gull City finishing very fast. Octagonal deeper on the track. It's Juggler just in front with 100 metres left to go. Gull City along the inside finishing very fast. Octagonal diving at them. Here's a great go as they hit the line. Oh, very tight Octagonal. Gull City just ahead of Juggler, and Stoddard in a terrific finish in the Australian Cup, followed by Nothin Leica Dane, Magnet Bay behind them, followed by Perfect Bound, and further back to Royal Line, Vianda Cross, and Doremus has run last in a thriller. Tremendous finish. Octagonal, what a heart he's got. And number 7, Octagonal. Octagonal has won the Australian Cup. Number 7, Octagonal. Magnificent horse, and a great farewell to Melbourne racing here. 7, 10 and 3 official placings in a tremendous finish to the Australian Cup. That's Gull City the inside, Juggler the centre, Octagonal. Here they are going to the post. Stoddard close up behind them, right to the line. Gull City, Octagonal lunging, and has got up to score from Gull.
And look at the signs, Go Big O. Yeah, he'll be ready to go. You don't need to tell him twice. He'll put his heart there. He'll put his heart on the line. And a man who I think is nearly as emotional as John Hawkes and Shane Dye is John Tapp. He loves calling the big ones, don't you, Tappy?
Sure do, Ken. And I'll be watching the Big O. Off and running in the Mercedes Classic. Came away in a nice even line. Some of the outside brigade are going to lead, I think. Circles of Gold and Flak Jacket are away quickly. Arcady began well. Octagonal's one of the leaders with Campaign Warrior and Istadard. And they are stretched across the track as they come down to the judge the first time at a pretty even pace. Flak Jacket about a half length on Circles of Gold. Campaign Warrior third on the inside of Istadard. Octagonal fifth on the inside of Arcady, and the Bandettas three deep as they go out of the straight. A gap then to Arctic Scent, followed closely by Magnet Bay, three deep around Dupain and Nothin Leica Dane. He's back on track a fair way back, and the last couple are Ebony Grove and Sky Bow. Leaving the 1800 metres behind them, Circles of Gold over racing in front, led by a bit more than a length to Flak Jackets. Istadard is third, Campaign Warrior fourth, the Bandit three deep and has been from the outset. Between runners then as they swing to the back as Arcady. Octagonal is dead set midfield on the inside of Magnet Bay. A length away Dupain, followed by Arctic Scent, and then Nothin Leica Dane. He's back on track, and Ebony Grove and Sky Bow back amongst the tail enders as they head down the back of the course. 1300 out and Circles of Gold is the leader. The Bandit is second, Flak Jacket third, Istadard fourth, has had a dream run from the outset. Then Campaign Warrior, Magnet Bay is out three deep going forward, followed by Arcady. Octagonal is awkwardly placed at the moment, cluttered up on the inside of He's Back on Track and Ebony Grove. Nothin Leica Dane on the outside of Arctic Scent, and back of the tail is Sky Bow. They're on the top turn at the 900 mark. Circles of Gold joined by Magnet Bay. Now they're putting on some speed. In third place, Istadard, who's had a dream run, followed by Flak Jacket. Then the Bandit, Arcady, followed by Campaign Warrior. He's back on track as moving forward with Ebony Grove. Octagonal is awkwardly placed. He's cluttered up near the fence, has nowhere to go. He got shuffled back a bit there, followed by Nothin Leica Dane, and then Sky Bow and Arctic Scent, and it's standing room only on the turn. They are packed up very tightly. He's about to shut into the clear on Occy, but he's giving them a fair start as they turn for home. Magnet Bay and Circles of Gold. Istadard looming up to them from Arcady. Octagonal's into the clear. He's starting to wind up here. He comes, the Big O down the outside. Istadard, Arcady, but Octagonal is getting to them with every stride. Arcady put his head in front. Octagonal is lunging as he always does. Istadard fighting back. Arcady and Octagonal. Oh, Arcady maybe. Arcady maybe, a nose to Octagonal, who tried his heart out. Istadard a terrific run third, followed by Magnet Bay. Arctic Scent. Then Nothin Leica Dane, Flak Jacket, the Bandit, Campaign Warrior, well back Ebony Grove, followed by Circles of Gold. He's back on track, and Sky Bow last in the Mercedes Classic. It's a close one. He's got up. Octagonal gets it. I didn't think he had. He got there in the last stride. Octagonal in the very last stride. From number 7, Arcady, and number 1, Istadard. Gee, I wasn't sure if he'd got there or not. It was awfully close. He drove as he's never driven before. But it was a bob of the heads, and to the naked eye, it looked as though Arcady might have beaten him. But he got the bob. He always seems to get the bob. I don't know how, but he does.
You're looking at a great champion, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome him back the last time at Rose Hill. The mighty Big O, the Octagonal. The greatest stake earner in Australian racing history, and has given us one of the greatest moments in Australian racing. They talk about Burnborough. They talk about Tulloch. You were here, ladies and gentlemen. You were here when Octagonal, the Big O, won the Mercedes Classic. To the King. This is one of the great moments of all time. Great sporting moment. Forget racing. Shane Dye, you helped make it great for us.
It was Octagonal, not me today.
Shane, you're in a lot of trouble back there on the fence. We were very concerned. How did you feel?
Not good. I would have rather been in the clear, but that wasn't to be, and luckily I worked my way out, turning for home, and he just did the rest.
He certainly did the rest, but Shane, half out, halfway up the straight, Shane, we were worried. We thought he was going to be a great run but get beaten. On the line, did you think you'd won the race?
I wasn't too sure, and I'm hoping at the 200 I didn't think I was going to win. I can remember his last run in the Australian Cup, how he wasn't going to win. Then the last 50 I could feel him lift, and that's the difference between him and good horses. The last 50 they find that neck. Good horses go the same pace. He lifts.
Great horses and great jockeys. Ladies and gentlemen, your idol, Billy Idol, Shane Dye. Jack and bobbing, and they're good blokes. They deserve a good horse, and they've got a great one. The Big O, and it's up there still. Give them a round of applause. The Big O.
Yes, I've been waiting for it. Octagonal. Thank you. 3 cheers, because we're all witness a day we will not recognise for another 10, 20 years. A horse breaking the all-time stakes record in Octagonal. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray!
And ladies and gentlemen, here he is coming up here now. We'll bring him back one more time to say goodbye before he leaves us. There he is down there. I think he deserves a very warm goodbye from all of you Rosehill race fans here today. We just clear the way there, ladies and gentlemen. If we can clear the way to let the horse come back up. There he is, Octagonal.
Not since the days of Kingston Town had a thoroughbred received this kind of adulation. The Big O had notched his 10th Group 1 win and had surpassed Superimposer's all-time stakes record. Ockie's tally now stood at 27 starts for 14 wins, 6 seconds and 1/3 for $5,838,231. His charisma and unfailing will to win made him easily the most popular horse of his era. Octagonal richly deserves his place in Australia's Thoroughbred Hall of Fame. Goodbye, Big O, and thanks for the memories.
Well, there's another scene of that massive crowd at Randwick this afternoon. It's the old story, as we often say, that champions and, of course, marketing and promotions will bring the race goers back to the track. This is a very special day. The Big O attempting to break $6 million in prize money, and he's farewell to racing. And there he is on his way round to the barrier stalls, and already Shane Dye has ridden the first 4 winners, and as John Tapp has pointed out on many an occasion, who knows, he might even ride the program this afternoon. But of course, Octagonal, whether you've backed him or not, is undoubtedly the sentimental favourite going into this race. And there he is with, as I said, Shane Dye aboard. Right behind him, that's all our mob.
Well, here's Ockie. He's moving in now. He'll be the 3rd one to be placed in. Nice and relaxed as usual. He's been having a good look at his opposition and summing it up. All our mob goes in. Been a marvellous old campaigner. Into Gaze, the precocious 3-year-old Derby place-getter, has moved in ahead of Electronic, waiting on Nazareth, Shaskay, Circles of Gold and Buzz Off. 4 to move in.
Atmosphere is quite incredible. Reminiscent of the day Gunsynd retired in 1973. I've never forgotten that day either. Unfortunately, Gunsynd wasn't able to go out on a winning note. He was beaten by a great New Zealand horse in Apollo 11. Let's hope that doesn't happen today. Now, the last couple move in.
Now, Shaskay and Circles of Gold go in together, and they're all set and ready for the Cathay Pacific Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen. They're all set, and there they go. Octagonal began a little bit awkwardly, might have missed it a half length or so. Kingston Bay bounced out in front of French Resort. Octagonal hunted up by Dyers, quickly poking between horses. He's going to ride him close to the lead today. All our mob is now going up into 2nd spot. Into Gaze is prominent. He's 3 deep early and he won't settle. He wants to over-race. Out very wide is Electronic as they go over that first crossing. A gap to Nazareth, followed by Buzz Off and Shaskay, and Circles of Gold on the outside is last of all.
Kingston Bay, the leader, going down the back. He's over racing and the pace is a cracker. Electronic is going up now to force him along. 2.5 away, All Our Mob with the run of the race. About 4 to Intergaze, who settles better now with so much speed on. A gap to French Resort, followed by Octagonal. 2.5 to Nazarich, and then Buzz Off, who's taking closer order. Chaskay second last and Circles of Gold last, and these leaders are burning the grass. Up to the top turn they go at the 1,000 mark. Kingston Bay, the leader. Electronic second, All Our Mob getting the run of the race third. 3 lengths away, Intergaze, followed by French Resort. Octagonal on the outside, it's being run to suit the champ. Followed further back by Buzz Off, who's tagging Octagonal. And then Nazarich and Chaskay, Circles of Gold as last as they go by the 800 mark. The pace has been furious. Kingston Bay, the leader. Electronic second, All Our Mob third, given a lovely run by Chris Muntz. Then Intergaze, Octagonal looming up on the outside as they near the turn, followed by French Resort, and then Buzz Off, Chaskay, Nazarich and Circles of Gold is last of all. By G Dye's getting busy on Octagonal. He's pulled the whip on the champ as they turn for home, where he's giving the leaders about 6 lengths. Kingston Bay and Electronic. Here comes the mobster. Intergaze on the outside, a length away. Octagonal, here he comes now. Intergaze and All Our Mob have headed Electronic. Octagonal's got a battle on his hands. Dye's throwing everything at him. The 3-year-old Intergaze has burst clear 100 metres out. The Big O can't do any better, try as he may. Intergaze has spoiled the party. A brilliant ride by Carmody. Intergaze in an upset beat Octagonal, reminiscent of Gunsind in 73. All Our Mob has run third, followed by Electronic, Buzz Off. Further back, Kingston Bay, Chaskay, Circles of Gold, French Resort, and Nazarich is last in the Cathay Pacific Queen Elizabeth Stakes. The 3-year-old, the Derby place getter, Intergaze, ridden a magnificent race by Craig Carmody, has upset the Big O. Almost a carbon copy of Gunsind's farewell race in 1973. Almost identical. Gunsind loomed up to challenge Apollo 11 that day, just as Octagonal did today. The roar from the crowd in 1973 was almost as loud, and Gunsind couldn't do it, neither could Occy. Number 10 is the winner. Intergaze, ridden by Craig Carmody, has won the Cathay Pacific Queen Elizabeth Stakes. The sectional times are quite amazing, ladies and gentlemen. I told you they were going quickly. They've gone the first 1,000 metres in 60.18. Now, that's about the time many horses run in a 1,000 metre race, let alone a sectional. The first 1,000 in 60.18, and that has taken the steam out of Octagonal. They came home in 36.59, but the damage had been done by then. And Intergaze, with the pull in the weights, a perfect run in the race and a terrific turn of acceleration, and that's the thing that stood Intergaze in good stead today, because he burst away and he had the race in his keeping 150 metres out. You could see Octagonal trying his heart out. You could see the look of determination in his eye. Shane Dye was throwing everything at him, but it was obvious 100 metres out that he had met his match on the day, and Intergaze held him safely. Oh, gee, it's a funny old business, isn't it? Shane's taken Octagonal over to the fence to let people give him a pat. Good on you, Shane. He's taken him right around the fence so people can give this horse a pat. Lovely stuff.
Well, the curtain falls on one of the greatest racing careers of all time. Jack Ingham must be feeling mixed emotions, a little bit disappointed.
Sad, but oh, what a great effort. No, I'm not disappointed. I mean, you come here, you can get beat, but he's been a great horse and he's given us great thrills. We'll never forget it, and what a great day today is. How good have they, the AJC staff and everybody, made it such a wonderful day. And it's great to see all the people here and the support he's got. Thanks very much.
Bob, I suppose it happened to Gunsind too.
We've been racing for a long while and getting beat, we've got used to it. Just to see him go down is very disappointing, and very disappointing for the crowd. But Greg coming back in, you'd have think he'd have won the race.
Yes, well, exactly. That's how they all felt.
I just want to say thank you very much to the AJC for the great job they've done in promoting this race and the week, and thanks to the public for the way they've supported him. He's a champion, and thank you very much, everybody.
Shane Dye must have been emotional coming back. He tried his best.
He was very emotional. He couldn't say very much.
Once again, for Jack Bob, Johnny Hawkes, Shane Dye, Darren Beeman, and especially the Big O, from everyone at Royal Randwick, 3 cheers. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip.